today with my fellow wine lover, one of my favorite people, Cynthia at Pebble Rock Cellars. I'm so excited to introduce you to Rob with Pebble Rock. I love their wine. I also love their tasting room in Johnson City, which is becoming like the next cool little city to go to all the time. From what I'm seeing, things are opening. So you know me, I want to dive into tasting the wines first, and then we get to hear all about your journey, what you're doing, the education you're giving us in Texas. So let's get going.
Yeah, so we'll start you off with our sparkling rosé. So we do this in the traditional method. So we do have a fermentation that takes place in bottle, but one thing that we don't do is disgorge. So it looks like a pet nat. People call it pet nat all the time, but it's not. And then one thing that I really wanted to do was kind of make a sparkling that was more for our Texas weather, because my issue with more of traditional sparkling when we're 100 degrees plus a lot of the year, or even 90, that CO2 coming off can be a little offensive, and you lose that kind of refreshing qualities from it.
Man, look at the bubbles in that. Yes. They say the more bubbles, the higher quality, right?
Sure, I don't. It's more of an Elisa. That's an Elisa Christopher question.
That's what I learned from her. So that has a lot of bubbles to me and tells me it's a very high quality wine. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Okay. I also learned you don't have to swirl sparkling wine. Like that doesn't do anything.
Nose. Wow.
No, the bubbles are releasing the aroma for you.
Oh,
exactly. I still do it though. Out of habit.
You get so used to the habit of swirling that. You catch yourself when you're doing it with sparkling.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
What are you tasting?
Apricot.
Vines.
I get some little floral notes as well. Very, very light in the background.
I get like orange rind in there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The color is gorgeous. I love it.
Oh. That is beautiful. And what grape is it?
So it's Sangiovese.
Oh, love this. So, Rob, tell us about yourself. What we always hear nowadays is young people don't drink wine, and you're not that old. So how did you get it?
I fell into it. So I studied horticulture at Texas A&M, great program. At the time, they did a terrible job of kind of telling you what you could do with horticulture as a career, because at the career fair, all you saw was like landscape and nursery work, and they weren't like, it's like landscape maintenance, and it was like really basic entry level nursery work. And I didn't go to college for 4 years to like end up if I just went into this career. So I did what any good college kid does when they don't know what they want to do. You prolong real life from starting, and my answer was more school. So I met with the graduate professor in charge of the WORK program, and he basically told me, look at other universities, see what professors are researching, find something you're interested in, and see if they need a grad student. And I was like, well, that was pointless, because I'm only here because I don't know what I want to do. But I took that little bit of like nugget of knowledge, because wine is slowly becoming more part of my life. I did a work abroad down in Chile, where I started drinking wine down there. A&M has that wine tasting class to get college credit, so I was in that. So like the pieces are kind of falling together, and I was like, this wine thing seems like fun. Let's see if you can get a master's in winemaking. Google said, sure, here are your options. So I started the application process to Fresno State. I found a program in Europe. And then as Christmas break was rolling around, there was a winery out here in the Hill Country looking for an intern. So I reached out to them instead of going home and just sitting on mom and dad's couch doing nothing for a month. And they said, sure, come on out. Fell in love with the industry, and by the time I was going back for spring semester, knew I was going to be in the wine industry. So came back every weekend to help out at that winery, worked there all summer, and then got accepted to the program in Europe.
That's
incredible.
Amazing. I'm very jealous. I went to A&M and there was no wine tasting class. No professors like go get into the wine industry. So I wish that had existed, or that my mom had told me to join the wine industry, but she did not encourage that either. You skated over it. And I want to hear more, because Chile's one of my like bucket list. That's where I would love to go on a wine trip. Can you tell me a little bit about that time, what that was like as a young like college student there?
That was a lot of fun. Lived with a host family, so like really immerse yourself in the culture. I was supposed to go down and give tours at one of the wineries down there. But when I finally got down there, it was the end of their tourist season, so they had to quickly find me a new job.
Yes.
So they found me like a little local nursery out in the middle of nowhere that I'd have to like travel 45 minutes a day by their metro system, catch a taxi, and like tell the guy where it needed to go. And he's like, "Where?" And I'm like, "No, it's here." And I'm like, you gotta wave him down to stop. To like, it's right here. Stop, please.
Stop.
So just like had a blast down there, and started drinking wine down there.
Good wine.
They have a lot of good wine down there. Like I'd like to go back now that I can appreciate it,
And they
instead
have
of being
wine-
like the young college kid that doesn't know how to drink wine at that time.
I bet.
And they have wine they keep there. They're delicious wine.
Oh yeah,
They're
and like
elevated,
they're like the wine scene down there has also grown and flourished since then. Because that was 2007 when I was down there.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
nice.
well, that was a while ago.
It's gotten recognition. Yeah.
So then you said you're getting your master's in Europe. Tell me about that.
So I joined the Euromaster Vinifera program. So when I was there, it was its second year. So it's a consortium. So everyone is together in Montpellier. So Sabagro Montpellier or INRA Montpellier. If you see that like on literature and stuff, it's kind of the same university. So our professors would come from different universities throughout Europe and teach a module for 2 weeks. And then you'd take an exam the following week as the new module was starting. So it was like really intense that first year. And that second year, you would go join one of those other university programs. So you could go to Geisenheim in Germany, Udine or Torino in Italy, a university in Lisbon, or you could go to Politecnico Madrid. And when I was there, that second year was all taught in the native tongue. So first year was all English, the second year was supposed to be taught in that native tongue. That year, Geisenheim started teaching English, so most of the kids went there. But Geisenheim's Germany, so cold climate, viticulture, and winemaking, which I knew I was gonna.
Texas.
I always wanted to come back to Texas, so I knew that wasn't gonna be super helpful. And I wasn't gonna learn Portuguese to go to Portugal, so like Spain made the most sense. So I went to Spain for my second year.
Nice.
And they just drink wine for lunch and breakfast. I mean,
it's really
you're gonna
weird.
be immersed in it.
It's really weird when you go to like the university cafe. You can either get a glass of wine or like a little like Cognac beer. When you're there, you're just like, this isn't like at home. Right? The university's frowned upon this.
See, I keep trying to normalize that here. Like, just a light wine. I'm not trying to get a really dark 20% going at lunch. But
You might just need a break from class, or if you're a professor, you need a break from the students. Go down to the cafeteria and just calm yourself for 15 minutes.
I love that because it tells anyone who's interested in wine, it's such a fun education. It's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of facets people don't understand about the wine industry. The business side. Your wife Lydia is big into that. She does a lot of the chemistry, correct?
Well, I've taught her the lab work. She does our lab work now because my time I don't have. I'm doing other things in the cellar, but she's like her background is all viticulture, so she understands the science and the growing of the vines, and like her thesis was like a canopy management, so she's like really intense on canopy management and making sure that practice.
And
is
that's
done.
essential here in Texas because
I don't know what that
an
is.
intense.
You have to talk to me like I'm
Okay, so canopy
not
management,
smart.
it's you've got to train, like when you're the growing season, you've got to manipulate that canopy so you get the correct amount of sunlight coming through, so you have enough wind. So you don't want to, when you look through the canopy of a grapevine, you want to be able to see through it, like. But it's also climate specific, so like you can't do canopy management like you do in Oregon, where you strip like the first like foot and a half of leaves off because it's so cool up there. You're trying to get that Pinot Noir to kind of ripen. Here you do that fruit's going to sunburn and you're not going to have a crop. So here, especially with the humidity, you're trying to open up that canopy to get wind movement, so you don't have that moisture just kind of lock in. You're also trying to get that sunlight to penetrate through the canopy, because if you don't, now you're going to have some part of that cluster is not going to get that sunlight and not ripen as quickly. And then it's variety dependent. Like Mourvèdre, when we talk about grapevines like children. So like Mourvèdre is the kid that you don't have to tell it to do anything. It does it right. It grows up quickly. It puts out the clusters where you want. Tannat, on the other hand, is that wild child where it's just like you beat it back with a stick and it's still like, I'm going to put out a lateral here.
Watch
me.
me.
I'll put out some fruit up here. And like, let's talk about leaves, because it's like a dinner plate sized leaf that you're like, no, come on, like we got to get some penetration of
That's
light.
so funny because we just interviewed Porch Tree. We were telling you earlier it was Mourvèdre that Mark had admit Lydia was right, that Mourvèdre is the one, like, do this grape because it would be the easiest. Now I understand why you all do so much consulting
Yeah.
around the Texas wine community, because you can't just come in, plant grapes, and be like, and go to work.
Well, you can, but it's not. I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to recommend it. Like, you're already spending so much money to get into this industry. It's worth the investment to get that consulted.
We'll have
Who knows?
the
I just got
wine
that
you had
knowledge.
20 years ago in Texas if you do that, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. We're trying to break this conception that Texas wine is what it was, 2 decades ago, and telling people we have the education now. We understand what grows here, how to grow it, and it's much more elegant, better.
It's better than it was. We've done ourselves a whole lot of disservice in the past, like when we put out a lot of bad wine in the 80s, early 90s. And what's been nice about our market is that, for a long time people tell you, you have to work with Cab, you have to work with Merlot. But as the consumers kind of evolved in their tastes, so like when I got involved back in December of 2007, like half the people coming through their tasting room doors, like, do you have something sweet? And then the palate of our consumers evolved as well, where they could care less if they could say the name of the wine, like Terral de Go, or it goes by Talladega, or Pterodactyl.
The tea wine?
Yeah, it starts with the tea. So as long as it's good in their glass, that's all they care about, which has allowed us to work with varieties that, traditionally in the past, people would have said, like, it's not going to sell. That's been really nice as well. And then just kind of watching the evolution of our wine practices and stuff kind of really come to where they need to. It's just now we need to take that ball and kind of, as an industry, as a state industry, like, start telling people about it. 'Cause one of the things that we've really fallen down on is, like, really going with people within the state, letting them know that in most part of the state now there is a wine country in their backyard. Like Dallas, they got the North Texas region, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston, where they're out here, but you still talk to people, like the most common thing you hear, like, you make wine in Texas? Like, we've got to break that barrier before we can really get past that.
We make great wine. I do know how to say Terral de Go now. It took a while and a lot of practice to get that to sort of roll off the tongue.
Right.
I like what you're saying. Like, we use a lot of different grapes. What are some of your favorite grapes to work with, or some of the unique ones? Because I don't like going necessarily to a tasting room and having a cab. I have had tons of cabs. I want something different.
I like working with Sangio VC. Like, it's one of our favorite ones, and it's been like a staple of our rosé program. Just because when we got started, I couldn't find any Mourvèdre because everyone was using Mourvèdre for rosé.
Yeah.
And all I could find was Sangio, so another quick Google search, I'm like, I hope I'm not crazy, and it's turned out really well for us, so we really like that. I love Chenin. It's just kind of difficult to find Chenin. It's getting a little bit easier now. We're just working through some backlog of whites before we kind of ramp that up again. I love Terral de Go. That was like a super fun find. And then I'm really like wanting to get my hands on some Peak Pool, because I think that's going to be a fun,
You're seeing
interesting
more and
wine.
more of the Peak Pool, and I like it in Texas because, like you said, it's so hot all the time.
Yeah, and it's
such a good.
It's one of those ones where I want to put it into our table program, because it's going to be that nice crisp white where it's, it's good in the summer, it's good in the winter, where you can just kind of.
You mentioned the table program, and I'm very proud because it was one of the programs we definitely jumped on.
You're a 2-bottle member
I
of the table
love
program.
having that option. It's something I can pull out, I can share with friends, people who are new to Texas wine. Say, oh, let me get this for you. The two that you have here just make it so approachable. So tell us a little bit about your table program.
Yeah, so one of the things that we wanted to do at Pebble Rock was kind of bring some of our experiences abroad back with us. And one of those ones that we were really passionate about was kind of that European table wine concept. Because in Europe, table wine is cheap, but it's of really good quality. And when we think of table wine here in the States, it's cheap and low quality. So we wanted to have this program where we could have this wine where people especially wanted to support Texas wine, and they just wanted that glass of wine on a Tuesday or Wednesday where they could just have that and not worry about which bottle they were opening. So we took the growler idea from the beer industry, so we can reuse those. And when people come in and get their first one, it's $25. But when we bring back the empties, we do refills for $12. So it comes with a liter of wine. We do a table red and a table white right now. So the table red is Dolcetto, the table white is Trebbiano, and then next year we'll introduce a table rosé as well.
So this is $12 to refill.
The refill.
Mm-hmm.
And when I serve it, they're like, "This is Texas wine," and they're looking. It's like, I promise you. Let's look at the back. It says Pebble Rock, the Texas. I said, "This is Texas wine." They are blown away, and I think it's just a great way to introduce people to, some fabulous Texas wine. I know I have, and I've enjoyed serving it at my table. So thank you.
Okay,
And I got my refill.
It's on the table. My glass is empty.
Yeah, good job.
Let's do the Dolcetto. And so I have to give this story too of when my mom and I first came to visit Pebble Rock. So first off, this is the place that if you go to almost any winery and you ask, whose wine do you suggest I try next? Pebble Rock typically comes up. I think like 90% of the time, Pebble Rock came up. So I said, well, we've got to go there. So we came. Honestly, we drove up. This is not what I was expecting. I was thinking it was going to be like Vines. It's a little house. You all have created a great tasting room, though, because every time I come in, you've got members hanging out on the couch, all these like charcuterie and chips out, and everybody. It's like just hanging out at a friend's house, honestly.
Yeah.
But my mom and I don't have reservations, and we're like, oh, it's small. Maybe they'll get us in. It was near the end of the day. You take us to the tasting area, which is gorgeous, by the way, and then you spent over an hour with us going through the wines, and you always have a piece of education with it, which I was not expecting. I was blown away. We both joined that day, full members, not the table bottle membership. We just joined because the wine's so good. So tell us about like the education you do, and then I think you're gonna give us a little peek about it with the Dolcetto.
Yeah, so one of the things that we want to do with our taste, like our whole goal is like on the consumer side and the guest side is to make wine approachable for everybody, no matter where you are on your wine journey. So like if you're a somm and been in it your whole career, we can still bring that education, or if you're just new into wine, we can bring that kind of educational approach where both people could be at the same table and learn something new. So one thing that we love to do is have that educational portion to our tasting. So we have a topic for our quarter. So we're in Q2 right now, so it's components of wine. So within each month of that quarter, we switch out the theme. So we did acid and how that affects the way that we taste wine. We've done tannins, and then we're finishing that one with sugars and kind of like how sugar tastes and why it's important and why we do things like that. So for our tannin one, we have some enological tannins that you guys can add to your wine because tannins can come naturally from the grapes themselves or this material called mog, which is material other than grapes. So it's that plant material, whatever the harvester or the person harvesting throws in that bin. So those can add some tannins as well. Tannins we don't want because they're going to be bitter. And then we have some enological tannins, which are fermentation tannins and then finishing tannins. The fermentation ones are mostly sacrificial, like they're going to absorb oxygen, so we're not oxygenating that juice. And then others are helping get a more stabilized color. And then we have our finishing tannins, which I call our oopsies, like something went wrong probably during the year. Maybe it was a wet year, so the fruit couldn't mature like it needed to, or just something went wrong. So you can use these tannins to either like mask some off flavors or things like that, or like bring that wine up to where it kind of needs to be. So in that tasting we have one that's called chalk, one that's called sweet, and one that's intense. So you get to add one of those to your wine and see how that will change the way the wine tastes.
Okay.
Now.
We can taste it out at first. This smells.
It's so beautiful. It really is.
God. This is the table wine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's really smooth. I don't have as much Dolcetto. I'm starting to see it more once again. Like you're seeing the Dolcetto up, but I haven't had too much of it. It's beautiful. That gorgeous color.
It is. It is very easy, very approachable, food friendly.
I can see why this is a table wine.
Yeah.
You can pair this with
But
pretty
it's-
much anything you put out.
It's elevated. It really is
Mhm.
elevated. I like that.
Yeah, this is not supermarket.
No, no.
Yeah.
This is not a supermarket wine at all. Okay, so how do we do this experiment with the tannins?
So
My
you-
mom actually did this
So
one.
you're just going to choose one of the three, and you're going to put 2 drops in there, and you'll stir your glass and take a sip.
Okay, which I'm gonna let you choose first.
I want the one at the end.
The intense?
Yes.
All right, I'll do the chocolate.
There you go.
Okay. I don't want to lose anything. Okay, how many? 2?
2 drops.
I think I did 3. I feel like I thought we were putting it in our glass. Was I supposed to put it on my hand?
I wanted a taste.
Confused now. What are you doing? Did I do it wrong? Did
No,
I just
you're good.
mess up
You're
the
good.
wine?
It's all earthy. It's all. Oh yeah, here it comes.
You know, you just did that on camera.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just like,
beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. All right, let me give it my
I'm
swirl.
becoming a bad influence on you. Oh.
I did like a caviar.
Oh, it
bomb.
definitely has like a deeper.
Yeah, so sometimes it'll change the aroma, or it can change the flavor as well.
Here it comes. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's much higher tannin.
Yeah. Don't try hers.
Okay, can I buy this? This is intense. It's good.
Well, you must be able to. I don't know where.
I love it.
You know,
I think he made it.
you can get it
Made a
from
tea.
before.
Yeah, so it's like, this is their bench trial stuff to do, like, in the cellar, so you know, like, you're not just, like, throwing tannins in there at the end. You do little bench trials to figure out, like, the
It
percentage.
completely changed. It doesn't even taste like dolcetto anymore.
Okay,
It completely changed.
You're the expert. What would you have added?
None.
I love it.
It's still good though. It's definitely got
That
a
was
bit
2
more.
drops. I can't believe
Mm-hmm.
The
how
difference
much.
it makes.
Yeah, how much? I
Yeah.
can't believe it.
Hmm.
You would have hated it.
Me?
My
No.
husband, the cameraman. So
He doesn't like that tannin.
Texas whites, they are coming up and they are getting beautiful. So when you mentioned pickle,
Mhm.
it really is coming up. Shannon as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what's coming up next.
Yeah, like, our whites are finally, like, I think, catching up with our
Nice.
reds. And it's kind of nice to see those new varieties that really do well here. And kind of getting away, like, I like Viognier, but it's not my favorite one in Texas.
And it's everywhere right now.
It's everywhere.
It's another one I have a hard time pronouncing.
Yeah.
Viognier. Is that how you say it?
Sure.
Viognier, yeah.
Close enough.
But, like, you've got, you know, I think in Texas, we kind of really figured out Roussan as well. Like, it used, when it first came out on the market, like, it was, when the tasting, we tell people, like, it's a wine geek's wine. And if you're a red wine drinker, it's going to be your white wine.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think we've gotten past some of that, because it can have some oily characteristics to it as well. And I think we've figured out that as well to kind of diminish that, because we didn't want to work with it for Pebble Rock. We just kind of ended up, because there was a grower that was going to have more bed the next year, so we want to start that working
That
relationship.
relationship, yeah.
It's like, he's got Roussan and Temp, two like ones we didn't want to work with, so we just took them. But like, it became one of our best-selling wines, like, without like being a hard sell, which was surprising. So now it's part of our program.
That's great.
Yeah, Roussan, Marsan. It's like the two you see quite a bit now.
Yeah.
And they have layers. They really
They do.
They
Yeah,
do.
they really do.
They
Yeah,
do.
very
I've
nice.
started finally liking whites. It took a while, but I don't know if it's just because we do them differently here and they're not sweet.
We do them differently, but I think for Texas, like, the varieties that are going to do well are the ones that are going to be versatile. So that's why I like Shannon and Peak Pool, because you can pick them at different times and do stylistically a lot of different things with them, which it's great for the consumer. It's great for the winery as well. So like, say like you find like you're getting a backlog of like a still Peak Pool. So now you could do a sparkling Peak Pool 1 year to kind of like switch out that backlog of stuff and kind of make sure you're not.
Yeah, I think that sounds delicious. And I am looking forward to a sparkling Peak Pool now. You all can do it. I know it can happen.
One day.
Beautiful. Yeah, this was interesting. It does make a difference.
And I like that you can come every month as a member and do a different tasting.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same wines, it's a different experience. When I came the first time, it was, you had us tasting like essence of things.
Yeah, so our aroma, their taste series.
Yeah. And then the next time I came, we did the music. Where it was like,
We closed our eyes and we had some really good music and some fantastic wine.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. You just
Yeah.
never know.
The senses, yeah, bring in your senses.
And then you do a lot of good dinners, and then verticals, which is, you don't find, we talked about this last time too, you don't find a lot of good vertical tastings, but I'm seeing it more. You have one coming up in August.
Yeah, so we'll have our Sangio vertical tasting, which will be the first time that we've had 5 Sangios. So we'll taste 18 through 23.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Very
I
nice.
gotta get
And so
tasted.
folks can go ahead and look you up on the website.
Yep.
And sign up for your newsletter. Check out the wine club and definitely the table program,
Yeah.
because it is a great way to introduce. Stop by. So you're right here on Johnson City. There's a little sign out front.
There's a little sign. It's really easy to miss.
Yes.
I like to tell people like we're the hidden tasting room in plain sight in Johnson City.
Yes. Yes. Hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
That's
Right
right.
by the
That's right.
Mexican restaurant. You'll see it.
Stop by, get your breakfast tacos before you come
Right.
over.
That's right. That's
Should
right.
have. I should have gotten here even earlier to do that. All right, we've got one more wine on the table that I cannot wait to try because it's the one he keeps saying, and you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, so this one's going to be our Tiraldigo, our 21 vintage, which is a super fun red. I'm super excited to see a lot more people work with it and kind of become one of the common reds that we'll see through tasting rooms out here. Because it brings some things to the table that are just difficult in Texas. Like most notably is going to be the color that the wine brings.
And Tiraldigo, is that
Oh my
native
gosh.
somewhere?
It's from the Alta Adige region in
Okay,
Italy. So like
nice.
it's one of those varieties that on paper would have never made sense to plant probably in Texas. But I'm glad someone did.
Nice. Look at the color.
Look, you said the
Wow.
color.
Look
Oh, I
at
mean-
that. It's gorgeous.
Oh, that is beautiful. Dark purple. And this is 19 months in oak. What's the ABV on this?
14.4.
Pepper. Dark.
I love it. You even say like only 126 cases produced. So you got to get the wine when you come. By the way, you got to bring it home.
Yeah.
It's not going to be around
Gorgeous.
forever.
That's gorgeous.
Look at it, just coats that glass. Let's see.
And so if people want to come in for a tasting, do you pick or do you have a selection or?
So we choose, so it's a standard tasting format. Highly recommend the reservations because we're trying to respect their time.
Absolutely.
Because we want to have that one-on-one interaction with our guests. Because we've worked on the back end of the tasting room where it's been 5 deep. It's not fun for us. We know it's not fun for y'all. So we're trying to really respect your time. And that's why we do the reservations. And if we have, space for walk-ins, we'll take them, but we'll let them know. And tasting lasts hour to 15. Just depends on the guests and the questions that are asked. And sometimes we can run closer to an hour and 30.
I was going to say, I think mine ran real long.
Yeah.
But obviously I like to talk, you like to talk. I learned so much that day. And yes, reservations to me are a must. I really think that day we just happened to luck out and it was towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we were lucky, but I would say most of the time that's not the case.
Yeah.
And you have so many events happening that you just want to make sure you are available or Lydia is available to do this. So while we're tasting this last one, before we get to our mystery taste, I want to hear the love story of Pebble Rock.
Okay.
We've talked a lot science, the education, but this is what really makes you guys so special. You're such a good team.
Yeah, so our name stems from Lydia's love of penguins and my disdain for that love of penguins. And the disdain came from the unwritten rule that I didn't know about before I met Lydia, that if your favorite creature can be turned into like this cute little knickknack thing, your friends are obliged to buy that knickknack and gift it to you.
Yes.
So when we first moved in together, because we were roommates first, she had this penguin collection. I thought it was a large penguin collection. She told me it was like an average size penguin collection. I still don't know what an average penguin collection looks like today. But she went through her penguin purge and kind of narrowed it down to like her favorite ones. And then you fast forward and we get married and like we're starting down the venture of doing our own winery. And I sit her down and I'm like, all right, Lydia, we're gonna be a serious winery. We're gonna have no penguins on the labels and nothing to do with penguins. I did a terrible job of negotiating.
You said that?
I did.
Did you open a bottle?
100% said that. then kind of fast forward as we're going down this route, we knew we wanted to trademark our name as well because we'd seen a couple wineries out here that didn't do that before they got started or looked that up and had to go back and kind of correct that. And with this being self-funded, we knew we didn't have that capital to play that game twice. Luxury. So anytime we come up with a name, Lydia was our first line of defense. She'd get on trademark registry. If we got past Lydia, we kick it up to the business lawyer so we could pay her to tell us no. And
it's a lot of wineries.
And you lost.
And then Lydia has an aunt that married a Canadian, so we're in the Okanagan Valley on a family trip, making it a business trip, seeing some of the wineries up there. Nice. As we're driving between wineries, she turns to me and goes like, "Hey, I think I came up with a name." And I'm like, "Okay, what do we got?" She goes, "So what do you think about Pebble Rock Cellars?" And I'm like, "Okay, why?" She turns to me and says, "Well, you have to listen to the whole story." And this just proves she's the smarter of the two of us because she knows I can't go anywhere and I have to listen to the story.
Exactly.
Because the next word's out of her mouth where, you know my favorite animal is a penguin, right? And I lose it internally, really upset, really angry, and I just can't go anywhere, so I have to listen. Yeah. And as she continues with the story, some subspecies of penguins will mate for life. When they find that mate, they present them with a pebble to go start their nest. So when I proposed to Lydia, I put her engagement ring in a Heine key that looked like a rock. So she likes to tell a story that I put her pebble in a rock. Yes. So that's where the name comes from.
Yes. I love it. You all make such an incredible team balancing each other out. I've always, when I've come in, you're usually running the tasting and Lydia's up here with all the members chilling and hanging out and then working and getting everybody their lines. So it's just a great partnership.
There are little penguin accents, I do want to say, and give credit to here. And
some wine club members.
I don't think anything is obvious.
They've definitely made their way into the tasting.
There's a penguin over there. I see a penguin, yeah.
A lot of wine club members have started to slowly bring in. Lydia brought her own in, and then other people have.
Well, like I said, she's the one hanging out with the members, so.
There are more people in her favor. There will be a penguin on the label one day, because I know there are more people in her favor than mine.
I love it.
That's great. That's great. I love it.
Are we ready for mystery pairing?
Mystery pairing. Okay, we'll take a break and be right back.
So we're back. We're going to do our mystery pairing, and as I have mentioned previously, I'm a busy mom. So a lot of my drinking wine at home is with whatever snacks my kids have in the house. I'm not getting fancy cheeses and meats all the time, unfortunately. So today I brought actually one of my favorites, the good old peanut butter cracker. What am I going to pair with this delicious peanut butter cracker?
So let's go ahead and try a Roussanne, because I think it's going to help cut through some of that richness of that peanut butter.
Nice, nice. And this is the 21?
This is the 21.
Nice.
I do love y'all's labels with the Pebble Rock on it.
Yeah.
I think you could hide the penguin inside it somehow.
So Lydia's idea, what Lydia wants to do is do the magic eye.
Yes.
So you have to look at it.
Yes, I love it.
And get a little cross-eyed to see the penguin.
I mean, after I drink a bottle, I will be cross-eyed, so I can easily see the penguin at that point. All right, let's try this. I'm going to try it without it first, obviously, because I just want to try that.
It's beautiful. The herbs.
Oh, that smells so good. Look at color once again. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I forget how buttery those crackers are. Sorry. Oh, you're right.
Oh, wow.
It does. It cuts through.
Yeah, it cuts through
to
all
me,
of
it's
that.
the butter and the salt it cuts through.
It cuts through that. You take away the creamy, you almost enhance the peanut flavor, and you take away the creaminess of the peanut butter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cuts through the fat. Absolutely. I love that.
Oh, it's good.
I can see why you mentioned this is the red wine drinker's
wine,
because it can easily pair with some of those big red wine flavors, the meats. Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited because now I can bring a picnic and my white wine.
Yeah.
And this is all. I got my protein. I got my fruit. I'm in a good spot with this. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna finish it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really nice. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look at our Roussan. I know we have that at home, but it's reserved for the white wine drinkers. So definitely going to take that out because I love that.
I have it at home too,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not reserved. It's just been waiting for a pool day.
Which we're almost there.
We are there, except we got all this rain
got the
this
rain.
week.
And I get shocked the pool and all that fun stuff.
I know we want to talk about the variety and coming by. One thing I want to ask you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the most surprising thing starting your own business? What's been most surprising and the best part of this for you and Lydia?
Surprising has starting right before COVID has been surprising. But like you take that out, like the surprising factor would probably be like some of the wines that sell pretty well. Like our dessert wine is always in our top 3.
We didn't even talk about
I
the
love
dessert
your
wine.
dessert.
It's
And that
so good.
when we started, like our dessert wine, like it's one of my passion projects. We never would have thought that like that dessert program would have gone as well as it has, and you don't see dessert wine sell that well, and so like that was been like a huge surprise for us. Like our table program, like how quickly that took off, especially for our local wine club members, because we do deliveries on the first and third Thursdays for people who live in Johnson City and Fredericksburg.
Oh, nice.
Because like when we started the tasting room or started selling our wine, we didn't have a permanent home, and we had been in the industry long enough to understand like wine club is super important. One of those benefits is usually coming to get a free glass of wine or a tasting. But when we are only doing pop-ups, we felt like we had to do something different. So that's how we started doing deliveries of the table red and table white, and we took 3 years before we could really catch up on production of that because it just took off. And surprised, like people start with 1 bottle, like even they're just coming to the tasting room, you see them start with 1, it's kind of the gateway drug, and then it's 2,
Yes.
then it's 4.
Yes.
So that's been pretty surprising as well. Like the most rewarding part is the connections we've just made in the tasting room. We've made some super good friends that otherwise would have never met. I tell people all the time, like my favorite time of the week is the weekends where I'm in the tasting room connecting with people and talking to people.
Like I said, you can tell when you come in and people are just kind of lounged out
Mhm.
and having a good time. It's wonderful. We've created a really great space here in Johnson City.
I know Angela touched on it earlier. When we go to other tasting rooms, they mention, where are you going next? Have you tried Pebble Rock? It's on the way in,
Yeah.
you know, so it is really great to hear other people talk and elevate your space here too. So yeah, congratulations on that. You talk about the people and the connections. You mentioned the dessert wine. So I was pleasantly surprised to see some of the dessert wine by the glass on your tasting menu.
Mhm.
Do come by. If you come by, grab a glass. Please make sure you try one of the dessert wines. They are just fabulous, and they will change your life. They really will. I would have never have thought that I would be a dessert wine
We've had some
person.
really good wine club members now who they're like, oh, we don't like dessert wines. I'm like,
Just
just
wait.
try
Yes.
it, and if you don't like it, we'll re-pour something, and it is now what they gift their kids for Christmas every
yes.
year.
And you're absolutely right. It makes an incredible gift, but even just to have one open and ready, that after dinner, just a little something extra, a little something special.
How long does it last once you open it?
Because any fortified dessert wine is going to last for forever. So ours is a Madeira style dessert wine. So I call it like the Twinkie of the wine world. Because we've done more damage to it aging it for the 4 years than you're ever going to do. So it's been oxidized, it's been exposed to that heat. So it's going to last you for forever. It'll change a little bit over time, not much like port, because port's age like any other red wine, but because it's fortified and above 18% alcohol, it's not going to go bad on you. The flavors and the aromas are just going to oxidize over time on that port.
Okay.
But with Madeira style wines, it is what it is.
So just store it in a nice cool place,
Yeah.
even after you've opened it, you're good to go. Okay.
Yep.
'Cause, you know, you're not having a full glass.
No.
No.
You could.
2 ounces.
Don't try.
And I like the dessert with cheese.
Yeah.
I like the dessert wine. I like it with nuts, some of the dried fruits, but it drinks beautifully on its own, nice chilled. So
Definitely poured on ice cream.
It's one of our favorite ones. We do a vertical tasting at every Thanksgiving weekends because we have Light Spectacular going on in Johnson City.
Yes.
So traffic's not coming to the tasting room because we're far enough off the square. So we like to use that as an opportunity to release the new vintage
Awesome.
and do a vertical tasting that
Awesome.
weekend as well.
That's great. So I love that you can do that by the glass as well. You also have bottles by the glass, and you can purchase bottles. So even if you don't have a reservation, folks can come in, have a glass, get experience, get exposed, take home some bottles.
Yes, and come and hang out in the lounge, have a
Absolutely.
glass, and hang out with Lydia.
Great.
I love it. Well,
Great.
congratulations on the success. I know it's only going to continue. You've got such a great reputation, and I mean, frankly, it's the wine is incredible. You can tell everything you all have put into these bottles, and it's just making all the difference. And it's such a win for the Texas wine industry when we can present wines like this to people.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yes, thank you, definitely. Your talents are definitely shining through.
Perfect. And for spending time with us this
Yes,
morning.
Absolutely, it's been fun. It's been a blast.
Thank you. So I want to make sure everybody follows you on Instagram, your
And YouTube.
YouTube channel,
Yep.
which is very educational and fun. Education.
Yeah, we don't
is
take
fun.
ourselves serious on
No.
social media.
No. Sign up for the newsletter. Come by, get your tasting, come and experience Pebble Rock for yourself.
Cheers. I'm the only one with a left.